All right, so there's a couple of different things you can do with one, Davinci Resolve, and two, something I really like with the Lumix FZ1000 Mark II, which is the high-speed footage. I've just been playing around with it. I actually did a video shoot the other week with a car where I tested the Lumix high-speed video capture. Obviously, it's high-speed footage. It doesn't capture sound, but it's perfect for certain shots. And I just thought I'd run a quick video on a few different ways to smooth footage, and how great this kind of feature is on camera like this. And to be honest, for a camera that's really not that expensive, if you're getting into video work and stuff like that, I mean, if you want to spend about another $1,000, you can go for the GH5, which is, I think, 4K and 60p rather than 30p 4K. To be honest, I mean, if you like shooting 4K and you want to shoot 4K, then by all means go for gold. Majority of videos that go out these days are still 1080. No one really watches 4K unless it's on your 4K TV and that sort of thing. So I'll just drag in this clip that I did a high-speed footage on. The only thing I will say is I don't know how high HD the footage is with it. Like, you can see here, it's kind of a little bit like pixely, grainy, sort of almost like it's 720, not 1080. But as it gets towards the front of the car, you can actually see it's a little bit better, but there's still a bit of grain there. I mean, that sort of thing you can fix up with color grading, and Davinci's great for that sort of thing. So that's the footage that we're going to edit, but I just thought I'd show you a couple of different things on the image stabilization side of things with this. So we'll bring this in. I'm going to find where like anytime you do any type of footage like this, doesn't matter where you start, you want to kind of find the spot. See, my car's in the way there, and it's annoying. Obviously, you don't want that in the footage, and you don't want the shadow either. So once you get to that point where you find it's good, cool, you cut it, you get the blade out, just cut it right there. Now, for this one in particular, there's a blank spot here, which in high-speed footage is a long time. So what I want to do is I want to cut this pretty much as the car kind of goes out of scene, a little bit after. So with this side of the footage, we can drag that out of the way. We'll worry about that later. But now, if we watch this, get rid of that. The other thing I've noticed as well, which is really good, and something that really ticked me off, was if you deleted something, like if you clicked on this and hit delete, right, it drags everything down. Everything on the right hand side, it drags down on the timeline. And I've had times where it has deleted certain things and stuffed things up. Do not hit the delete key. Control Z to bring it back. If you want to do it, hit backspace. It stays there. It's perfect. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that out, but it's a great little trick. Other thing you can do is if you want to delete the audio, right? Control, click on the audio. Don't delete, because it does that. See, that's exactly what I was talking about, how you end up with the footage from the right over the audio on the left. And it's weird. It just, I don't know why it does that sort of thing. Again, control right, left click on the audio, backspace, gone. Same on that one. Control. Sometimes you have to control double click on it because it depends if you're linked or not. Now, a lot of people, and I've watched a lot of videos on Davinci, and one thing that's always, everyone's like, oh, this is how you zoom in on your timeline and stuff like that. No one's ever mentioned this. So I thought this might be a good idea. If you hit control and scroll on your mouse wheel while you're on the timeline, sorry, I'm going to take that back. Not control. If you hold alt while you're on the timeline and scroll, you can scroll in, scroll out and zoom in, zoom out. So if you look at the zoom icon up here, when you're on the timeline, you're zooming in and you're zooming out with Alt and scroll. It's so much easier when you're trying to work on the timeline rather than trying to get to this little pinwheel, like to this little point up here. It's a pain in the ass. So that's another good little trick. You hold Alt and scroll. Boom, done. So basically, this bit I think we wanted to get rid of. What was it? This bit now. Now I've stuffed up my footage. Let's go back. What have we done? No, okay. I've dragged that over. So what we want to do, unclick that. This is the one we want to edit. All right. So if we go into color, let's get rid of this time. Lots. Nodes go away. Now if we play this footage from the start, for high speed footage, it's not too bad, really. Like, it's pretty smooth. There's a little bit of jerking, like, cause I filmed this by like sprinting at the car with the camera. You wouldn't believe it, but yeah, that's how I did it. I thought I'd give it a go, and that's how it worked. And it actually turned out all right, even for stock footage. Like, it's not terribly bad. But I'm a bit of a perfectionist with that sort of thing. So basically what you do is, if you come along to these in color, you come to the target wheel and you can click either on here to the middle one, or you can drop down and go stabilize. Do not, I mean, depending on whatever you're filming, perspective is a pain for like high speed shots personally, and stabilization, it does my head in. It actually really annoyed me until I found out a few different things. So I'm going to hit stabilize on perspective just to show you why I hated this, and I ended up not using this footage in my final product because of the stabilization issue that I was having. So if we play it, it's fine all the way up until it hits about the back of the car. Now watch the back of the car and it warps. See that? I'll play it again. See how it starts warping? Like the car, you can see the back of the car like warping in and out, and from my point of view, that is terrible. I hate it. It pisses me off. So translation isn't too bad, but I found similarity to be the best one. If you select similarity, you have to stabilize again. It doesn't automatically put it into similarity mode. You have to restabilize the image. You'll see the lines will change. See that? I know it looks worse, but look at the end result. That warping that we got at the back is gone. I honestly thought that was the only way to stabilize the footage, and I was like, well, this is dumb. I can't stabilize footage. But you got 3 options down here, and I mean, the best way to do it is whatever you're shooting, pick perspective, stabilize it, watch it, look for things like that. If it doesn't work or you get warping in the footage, click on similarity, stabilize it. You got a few other things like smooth. The smoother you go, the more zoomed in it will be. So like that was a huge, from 25 to 1.0, that was a huge difference. A good middle ground's 50, but see how it works. Obviously depending on what you're shooting. If you bypass it, if you don't turn off zoom, you'll be able to see all the missing pixels. See up here, all that sort of stuff. That's basically the program working out what to stabilize. That's why it zooms in. So where were we? Go back to zoom, click that back on, and now we've got pretty damn butter smooth footage with this one. I quite like it. I think that's a really nice shot, and it ends out pretty nicely. You can fade off there. I've got another idea for that footage. So now once that's done, we're pretty much done with color, unless you want to do color grading, add LUTs, that sort of thing. I'm not going to worry about that now. So now we've got that footage, but the problem is it's a little bit boring. It's all one constant speed zoom in. it's nice and smooth now, but what's the problem? You can do a multitude of different things to fix it. Personally, I like this idea. Have it slow play probably until about this point. Pick your points, doesn't matter. Oh, that's the other thing. Once you've done all that image stabilization, it's almost pretty much mainly for speeding up and slowing down footage, but retime process, optical flow. In the free version, you've only got these 3 options here, which is resize, scaling, and retime. There's a 4th option, which is warp speed, which is great for slow down footage, making it really, really smooth, but that's only available in the purchase pack, which I will be getting extremely soon, mainly for that. So we pretty much found our point where we want it to slow down. This is a nice, easy way to do things. Change clip speed. Sorry, not change clip speed. We want to go retime control. So that brings up this, basically. So from here, you can drop down, right? And you can just change the speed all in one go. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a speed point. All right, so we want to change the speed between here and where our next point is. So basically, we're going to hit play and figure out where we want it to stop zooming. Stop speeding. I think that's a pretty decent point right there. I know it's pretty far along the timeline, but what we're going to do is we're going to add another speed point. Now, you can choose your times. I think 800% speed up is pretty decent. It's going to change the clip a lot shorter, but you're going to see a huge difference, and it's going to attract you to the car. Like you're like, oh, walking towards it, then boom. Don't go off it straight away. Let it render a bit. Sometimes it takes time. See, there we go. Now it's rendered in. It's actually going to play that nice and smooth. Well, I thought it was anyway. That's pretty good. It's still rendering. The rest is clipping. So as we get to about here, this is where I cut it off earlier. So we're coming towards the end of the clip. So what I want to do here is add another speed point, and we're going to change that to 800% again on the end of that. So it's going to be really, really short. And this is where we're going to drag in this footage just to kind of complete it. This is another good little trick for transitions. If you don't want to have all these weird glitchy transitions, you just want something smooth, you kind of select a similar frame. And what you want to do is you want to find the point where you want it to stop on this one, which will be when the car comes into focus, which will say the rear tire is a pretty good point. Same again, retime controls, add speed point, and because this section, wrong button, because this section here was 800%, we're going to do this one at 800% too. So I'm going to change that to 800%. So now we have a speed transition pretty much. So this is going to glitch a little bit because it's still rendering, but you're going to get speed and then glitchy. Then we'll play it until it's smooth. And it's not smooth. We'll get there eventually. Nope. So we're getting there. So that's how you can kind of, I mean, depending on the footage. See, that almost kind of looks like one continuous shot. Actually, I think it was one continuous shot because I just split it. I didn't crop the I didn't actually crop it. So we didn't really need to make the cut there. We could have just, but basically what I'm saying is you can, if you wanted to do a cut and make a transition here, for instance, all right, we'll get rid of this piece here. Get rid of that. All right, now this is where it's out of shot. So we want it to retime controls here, add speed point. And then this one here, we're going to change to 800%. Like that. All right. So again, so now you can see the difference. It's almost so fast. It's almost like it was one continuous shot and just sped up. It's pretty smooth. I kind of like that. Now we haven't done anything to the color effects or the stabilizer on this one. Anytime you go to any clip, it's always going to default to perspective. So go to some similarity. Again, I like to set this at 50. That's for this one mainly, and stabilize. The end footage here isn't the best because the camera is too high. You don't get enough of the car in the photo, but it's a good outro for that footage. So if you wanted to go to another scene, sort of thing. So you can kind of tell it's zoomed in and it's not the best, you know, swipe past the car. But it's a good, you know, if you wanted to use that as an end of the video, you could, where could we stop it? Like right there, because we've got people in shot. I'm gonna cut it there. And then you have to turn off retime controls, and then you can just fade it out like that. Wherever's best. And boom, just like that. Now we'll go back to the start, watch it, and see how we go. Rendering, rendering, rendering. It's painful sometimes. It's gonna do it over and over again. Eventually it'll render in nice and smooth. So that's a quick little video on a few different ways to spice up your footage, and also to show off the Lumix 1000 FZ 1000 Mark II high speed footage. So if you wanted to use it, so that was on a Zion Crane 2 gimbal as well, and it actually didn't turn out too bad. There was a little bit of jumping around, mainly because I'm running with the gimbal and the camera. But that is a good example of how to use the free stabilizer. Warp speed, I think, is more for slow motion footage, so we don't have to worry about that too much. But the stabilization side of things is pretty damn good for a free program. So if you're having dramas with stabilization, just remember you've got the 3 options here depending on your footage, and every time you change it, you have to re-stabilize. I didn't know that. I was an idiot and was like, oh, similarity, cool, why is it the same? There's no difference. Until I was like, bang, oh, wait a minute, that's better. I'm an idiot. So yeah, so that's basically it. I'm still learning at this Davinci Resolve, and still finding quite a few different interesting features and things to do and stuff like that. Making intros for videos, that sort of thing. It's quite fun learning on this program, you know, and don't be afraid to get out there with your camera, try different things, you know, different settings. If you've got the FZ 1000, I highly recommend trying out that high speed footage depending on what you're shooting, because it's really good. If you're not going for audio, then, you know, it's great for fast zooming in on things or whatever, however you like to shoot. But yeah, thanks for watching.